What's going on, guilty guys and gals? Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Our adventures, I think this one is particularly. I forget what we're doing in this recess, but we got a recess. It's good. Right, I have to voice these people. Excellent work, Ryunsuke. That was superb. There we go, that'll be better. My heart was in my mouth the entire time. It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there. Oh my. You were drenched in sweat, your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. It was a grim sight, but before I knew it, you'd started finding inconsistencies in the testimonies. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer. Forget it, it's terrifying. If I get through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of a courtroom again. Anyway, it looks like we've exposed your phantom lady at last. Right. Miss Giselle Brett. A student from Great Britain, is she? That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There was a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along. Yes, you have, haven't you? I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observation are one thing I am sure of. Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentlewoman. Do people say that? Gentlewoman? I guess that would be the opposite of gentleman. I always thought it would just be lady. Because ladies and gentlemen, I don't know. Thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Whoa, his nose shadow just changed. Did you see what happened with that? No, I didn't see any of it. They probably arrested him before he could. I was just on my way to the restaurant myself. Then, on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table, I noticed there was a gun lying there. And just after I bent down and picked it up... Bang. I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot had come from. The waiter ran over to me, looking as white as a sheet, and he bundled me in some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen. Fast thinking, Mother Detective. He apprehended his suspect without a moment's delay. Yes, and because I was shut in the pantry, I have no idea what happened outside in the dining area. Ah, there you are. Well done, both of you. No, this is gonna be this guy. Well done, both of you. Oh, she just left. Okay, bye! Professor Mikotoba. Well, it seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You've exceeded my expectations, I have to say. Yes, it seems you planned this from the start. You arranged things so that I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this trial. Our modern country is still in its infancy. Our justice system even more so. Which is why I firmly believe we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I wanted to avoid a situation that may have resulted in your study tour to Great Britain being cancelled. Well, it makes no difference. Loyal or otherwise, if I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life, I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyway. What? What are you saying, Kazuma? So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way. Kazuma! Well then, looks like it all comes down to you, young man. I just wanted to put a little more pressure on you. To me? Yes, you need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case. Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? If you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim? Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Wilson was a visiting professor at UMA. And it was I who invited him. Oh, I see. I didn't know that before. Anyway, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. But let's not forget who we're going up against. This gentlewoman whose involvement our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide. Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. But I have no doubt you pair will put up a good fight, right to the last. Best of luck. Thank you. Now then. I need you to run an errand at the university at once. There's something I think we may need. Of course. Good luck, Kazuma-sama. Defendant Naruhodo. Court recess is over. Please make your way back inside the courtroom at once. I think he had more of like a comedic voice because he was being a comedic asshole, but you know. Taking drink? Okay. It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Let's go in there and deal a decisive blow. Before those old fossils know what hit them. Kazuma? What? Thank you, really. What for? Well, if you hadn't said you believed me, then I'm fairly sure I'd already been found guilty by now. Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer, and as a friend. Coming from you, that means a lot. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really going to give up on his dream of studying abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. So this isn't just my battle anymore. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. This is a good song, by the way. Is this Kazuma's theme? Alright. He said that too. Alright then. I'll save the thank yous for after the trial. You can treat me to one of those sukiyaki meals I like from the Yume cafeteria on University Street. I ran out of breath. With an extra large portion, of course. Alright. Fight. Supreme Court of Judicature. Courtroom 2. The court hereby resumes the trial of Yusuke Naruhodo. Prosecutor Ouchi, have you managed to subpoena the witness?
Yes, Your Excellency, against all odds. And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under rather painful scrutiny from the government.
Sorry. Let the government scrutinize. That's their job. It's nothing to worry about.
That's highly unlikely that the good relations we forge with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. Will you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down and aren't... Oh, no, that says founders. Is that supposed to be flounders? I'm assuming, yes. The new treaty breaks down and our nation flounders.
Again, terribly sorry. If the friendship between our nations is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on. They might as well have written it on glass. You really have nothing to worry about, Rinsuke.
What do you mean?
A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, a bungled investigation, missing witnesses. Is this what our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan? Or of England?
Shut up! Shut up! You jumped up, rookie boy! You and your friend know nothing! Nothing of the situation our nation finds itself in.
He wipes his face and changes an expression. That's funny.
By aligning ourselves with this great world power, we'll become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures.
I won't deny I'm no expert. I'm just a student. And one who could arguably study harder, too. But standing here now in our Supreme Court, there's one thing I feel very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all.
Oh, very well said.
Well said, Ryunosuke, despite your wide-eyed look of terror.
You little brats!
Thank you, Counsel. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system, and exists solely for the pursuance of truth. With that in mind, this trial will now resume with the next witness taking the stand. The visiting student from Great Britain, Miss Giselle Brett.
Yes. Your Excellency!
Oh my. Okay. He's just become a swan.
Wow!
That was really smooth animation. I'm not used to Ace Attorney having such smooth animation. Okay.
Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan, and from such a distant land.
Tea! Someone bring English tea! In England, no discussions take place without tea.
Is that true? No idea.
So, could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court?
Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I have been working undercover as the head waiter at Le Carnival, but my
Yes, we know about you already.
Inspector Hosonaga, where are your manners? In England, it's always ladies first.
Is that true? No idea. More importantly, a little earlier today you said something to me. You said your powers of observation are the one thing you're sure of. Yes, I think I did, didn't I? Yet your description for this amazing sight was simply a woman. Sorry, Ryunosuke, but powers of observation aside, your powers of description are sorely lacking. Guilty.
So, dear lady, once again, if we may trouble you for your name and occupation, please.
Oh my god, the masquerade mask. She's speaking in cursive. She's literally speaking in cursive. That's like a meme. Oh god, he's speaking in... La mina something blur is maybe... That's very messy cursive too.
She's speaking in riddles.
I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but what?
He's gonna have to translate for her. She's speaking British. I guess we're speaking Japanese. I also said she's speaking British. I was gonna say she's speaking British, not English, but we're not speaking English, so this is the one time in Ace Attorney where it's not localized to be like LA. The lady says her name is Giselle Brett. She comes from London, England. She's a visiting research student, currently enrolled in UMA University's medical faculty. I forgot he had sort of a Correcchio twang to his voice.
Oh my, what a rare treat to hear the dulcet tones of the delightful language of the British people. I'm afraid I don't understand a word you say, but it was as beautiful as a hummingbird's song.
As far as I can tell, the detective is translating her words faithfully enough. Yes, I agree. You'll obviously do fine in England, Kazuma. Her English doesn't rally you at all, does it? Nor you. You've clearly been paying attention in your English classes, Ryunosuke. Then why can't I read it if he understands it, huh?
The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now, if we may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brett. 3 days ago, at a restaurant called Le Carnival, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining there with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time. Is that correct? She says yes.
This could take some time. So even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese? She totally can. She's just not. How is she? Oh, never mind.
She'd like to apologize from disappearing from the scene. She says that she was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately.
Interesting. When you're the one who engineered her escape.
I was just following special orders from the Bureau.
Well now, dear lady, would you be so kind as to cast your eyes over this photographic print? Seeing as you were, so unfortunately, present at the scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, perhaps?
She's gonna say I did it, obviously.
Apparently it was a very frightening and sorrowful sight. Do you mean to say? Yes, it would appear the lady did witness the crime.
Oh, that's still him.
The very moment when the accused, standing right there in this courtroom, shot the victim in cold blood.
Uh-huh. Who would have thunk?
Order! Order in the court!
Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have an absolutely conclusive witness statement.
Well, it looks like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is.
Unfortunately, I will have to ask you to formally testify, if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described.
I like her design, though. Even though it is wild. A frightening, sorrowful sight. I'd arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day.
The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beef steak. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor, and they got into a fierce argument. Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit.
Well, I wasn't carrying a gun either.
This is a condemning testimony indeed.
No, I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all.
Quiet, you filthy wretch! Look at you, you black-hearted blackguard! And look at this snow-white angel! I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine whose words the court is going to believe.
You're still making the same mistakes, Ryunosuke. You mustn't blurt out when you're goaded like that. That's a lesson you'll need to learn. But he's so annoying. Especially his voice.
Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took statements from this lady and the two witnesses who testified before, and reported back to the Bureau. I'm yawning, his voice
uses the back of my throat. Okay.
It was decided that Miss Britt was not involved, so I let her go.
The testimonies of the last two witnesses were completely worthless, however.
Well, even so, on the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. As you can see, there was nowhere about her person where she could conceal a firearm.
What about in her hat? Look, that's happened before. Surely. I think she could hide it. I would think she could hide a gun almost anywhere in that outfit if she wanted to. True.
Unless and until the precise location where the witness is to have hidden a weapon can be shown, this is moot.
There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. Those are the witness's own words on the matter.
That's ridiculous. If only I was allowed to lift up her dress, I could prove it. Don't think about doing anything rash, Ryusuke. You don't need any more charges placed on you, alright? But I didn't fire the gun I picked up. There must have been another gun there that day. You're right about that. Which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, that's what we have to prove now. And to do so, we'll need to pull her testimony apart. Oh.
The defense may now cross-examine the witness.
Oh, yes, Your Excellency. See, she totally understands what we're saying, at least. I don't know. This is going to be another Maki Tobai situation. A frightening and sorrowful sight.
I'd arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day.
Press everything. After 2 p.m., in fact. That's really quite a late lunch, isn't it?
You don't keep up with the latest fashions from Britain, do you? Late luncheons are on vogue, isn't that right?
No. I guess, why would I give her a French accent? No. No, may we? No. I don't know. A decisive English no has quite a sting to it.
The gentlewoman is currently working in the victim's research laboratory, it seems. So it was apparently a daily occurrence that they would lunch together.
It's a little odd. But the day in question, the victim had another appointment at the clinic first. Yes, which we can prove from the medical report card that was submitted as evidence earlier.
That's right. Miss Brett and the victim went to lunch following the victim's treatment, which was why it was so late. Yes, that all makes perfect sense.
Such wonderful logic. What a shining example of English intelligence this fine gentlewoman is.
So you both arrived at the restaurant. What happened next? The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beefsteak. That's kind of mean. Well, I guess they were going to lunch. It's only fair. Why did he go to lunch if he couldn't eat? This is all weird. He wasn't able to eat, you say? And that was because he just had a tooth removed at Hada Clinic, correct?
That's right.
You're supposed to actually check with the witness before answering. Was Miss Brett aware of that fact?
It seems so, yes. She'd heard that the professor was to have some dental treatment.
So that would mean that it was you who ate the steak pictured here. Is that right, Miss Brett?
That's correct, yes. The print you have there shows the table exactly as it was left after the horrifying events.
Exactly as it was left?
Dear me, what a harrowing experience. To have traveled to a distant island on the far side of the world and be embroiled in such a tragic incident. Have no fear, my dear lady. I will crush the evil fiend that has subjected you to this terrible plight.
So the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all?
That's right, other than some carbonated water.
Just water?
Yes, the professor wasn't able to eat, but he had been given permission to drink water.
And so he chose the most volatile form of water he could.
So it appears that the diners toasted their lunch with a glass of water each.
They each raised a glass of carbonated water. Is there 2 cups here? I don't think there is. Yeah, no, there's only one. Did he drink his from the flower vase? What do you think, Ryusuke, about the witness's last statement? That last statement of yours, Miss Brett, has a profound bearing on this case.
Well, well, how fascinating. Do tell us, what is this profound bearing?
It's a contradiction. The significance of this statement will become apparent when the time is right. The defense calls for the witness's last statement to be formally added to the testimony.
Well sidestepped, counsel.
Very well, Miss Brett. Kindly repeat what you just said to be added to your official testimony.
Gladly, she said. And I like that smile. That smile. Ah, that damned smile. Yeah, okay. That was brilliant, Cosma. I'm gonna remember that one. Which one? The significance will become apparent when the time is right? Oh no, that's him. The significance will become apparent when the time is right. I could really use that phrase. I'd hope there's some more useful tips you're picking up from this experience than that, Ryunosuke. Like the fact that maybe you should tell us that the woman you saw was half swan. I had a beefsteak for myself and the professor, and we cheers over that. Let's get everything first, though, because that seems rather trivial. Let's just see. I never got into an argument with the professor. All I did when I noticed him was go over and say hello.
Please don't get angry with me.
No, I wasn't directing that retort at you. It was meant for the lady next to you. But anyway, as I said, I did not argue with the professor.
I'm afraid your words are in vain.
Sorry?
Miss Brett does not appear to speak Japanese.
No, of course not. Japanese is such a cumbersome language anyway. English is the future. We must all speak English.
Oh, he's trying to say speak English. You'll get it, Pain. Or, he's not Pain. Ouchie. Can you teach an old dog new tricks? I wonder if the prosecution will feel that way forever, or only in the presence of a beautiful woman. Well, that beautiful woman is telling blatant lies with a completely straight face. I have to find something that'll unravel her testimony, no matter how seemingly insignificant it may be. Okay, that's the game saying, just do it.
Anyway, it seems that after the argument, the accused briefly returned to his own seat.
That part ties in with what you said, doesn't it? Maybe she just thought it was an argument. Maybe she really doesn't speak Japanese, and if that's the case, maybe this is all like a misunderstanding. She's definitely the killer, though, so I don't know. Maybe she's not. That'd be crazy. Yes, I still had some more coffee to drink. And the next time you got up after that was when I finished my coffee and stood up to leave. Stop smiling to yourself, huh? Not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. Yes! Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I was... Like I said, I did not shoot that gun! Like I said, there's no point in repeating that assertion over and over. Well, I wasn't expecting to be attacked by my own side.
Nevertheless, defendant, you can't deny that when the shot rang out in the restaurant, you had a gun in your hand.
Well, yes, it's technically true, but... But all I did was pick up the gun I saw on the floor next to the professor as I was leaving. In fact, yes, there was someone much closer to the victim than me at that time. The highly suspicious lady and
That will do, you dirty rotten scoundrel.
Dirty?
Your baseless accusations could very well cause an international incident, boy.
It seems to me that your accusation is just as baseless as ours.
What nonsense.
The lady is merely stating what she saw.
And this is already an international incident as far as I'm concerned, anyway. She, like, contradicted herself with that. Like, I can carry a gun, so obviously I'm not the culprit. It's not like there weren't other people with guns there, clearly. Anyway. Ready to beefsteak, right, yeah. Present. Yes! This is the right one, right? It is, okay. The music stopped, we're good. That face! That's it! Let me just confirm something, please. It's to do with this photographic print. Was it poison? Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene. That it was exactly as it was left.
That is correct, the lady says.
Well, that is... It's odd. Very odd.
Dear me, what's odd in the defense's inability to... What is odd is the defense's inability to express itself.
Ryunosuke, what is it about the print that looks odd to you? Well, obviously it's the cheers.
The cheers?
Miss Brett just told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. But if that's true, there should be 2 glasses on the table, not 1.
Ah. You're quite right, Counsel. There is only 1 glass pictured here.
Are we supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over minutia? What possible difference does the presence or absence of a glass make on this case?
Objection!
Minutia, you say? Could it be that the detective here removed a glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence?
Of course not. I would never do something so reckless.
But then there should have been 2 glasses on the table. Are you going to try to tell me you can clink with only 1? Clapping with 1 hand, clinking with 1 glass.
You're quite right. I certainly took 2 glasses to the table.
I ate the other one. It was delicious.
Inspector, what did the lady say? It would seem that it was Miss Brett who took the glass from the table.
What?
It was all so terrifying. Everything that happened. I pulled an Adrian Andrews. I panicked and thought I should try to hide the fact that I'd been there at all, she said. Good gracious. That is very irresponsible.
What's wrong with her eyes? Why won't she show them?
Sorry. She's going to be very British. There, as I assured the court before, this is of no consequence at all.
Oh, please.
We must remember that this student had just murdered this lady's luncheon companion before her very eyes. Who could blame her for concealing a glass or 2 in her state of disarray?
That's absurd.
Oh, really? So, do we take it that you are not now going to accuse this vulnerable, young, and beautiful woman of mischief?
Actually, it was gonna be murder. I don't think mischief's an official crime. No, this can't be put down to mischief. I'd like to know exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene.
Did she not have space to conceal a gun? Where'd she put the glass? It would seem she slipped it into a small handbag she was carrying.
Oh, very convenient.
A handbag, you say? Yes, Your Excellency. A small handheld pouch commonly carried by well-to-do women in England.
So, the beautiful lady has very graciously explained how and why she removed the glass from the scene now. However, the fact remains that this glass has absolutely no bearing on the case. This student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning, but in the end it comes to nothing. This student has been trying to use logic in a court of law. Ridiculous! No more pretentious accusations. You've wasted enough time already.
Indeed, the lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she removed the glass. I think henceforth we can consider the matter to have no bearing on the case. Counsel for the defense, are you in agreement?
Well, I don't know, really. No! If you want to pursue this matter further, you're going to need to show that it has some deeper significance. Yes, you're right. So she took the glass away in her handbag. If there's a deeper significance there, it's the handbag. Wait, the lady put the glass in her handbag, you say?
Yes, do try to keep up. It's already been explained to the court that all English gentlewomen carry handbags for small items.
Let me see. A little while ago, Miss Brett stated that the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. But what she forgot to mention was her handbag, in which it'd be perfectly possible to conceal a gun.
You're right.
Well done, partner. I had a feeling you picked up on that too.
What are you insinuating, you vile blackguard?
It's really very simple. The gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire the gun, we can deduce there must have been another firearm at the scene. The true murder weapon, if you will.
You can't seriously be suggesting...
Inspector Hosonaga,
Yes?
did you or did you not search Miss Giselle Brett's handbag on the day of the murder?
No, sir. I did not.
As I thought. In other words, another gun, the one that was actually used to kill the professor, could have been hidden in Miss Brett's handbag.
Ow!
Order! Order! Order!
What's the meaning of this, Inspector?
The meaning of what, Prosecutor Ouchie?
Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag to show you the contents at the time? Thanks to your bungling incompetence, now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations.
Brilliant work, partner. Now we have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask. Do you think so, Kazuma? The only reason I say poison all the time, even though it looks like a gunshot was clearly used, is because this guy's freaking poisoned, obviously. Anyway.
Well, what a sorry situation. Clearly you have no faith in the police.
Yeah.
As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting. Simply because it was unnecessary.
Unnecessary in what way?
I ought to thank the student lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here that I had completely forgotten about. Oh dear. This photographic print.
It's clear. Gotcha.
This print.
What if it's not clear, though? Did anybody check? Just in case. Anyway.
This print is of a photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting.
Wait, why does he have a bull seared into his skin? Which is on the steak plate. How the hell would that even happen? Unless, like, maybe he had his hand on it because he was eating? In which case, this is all weird and wacky.
Immediately after the shooting, as you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag. Well, I never. You can see right through to what's inside.
What kind of lady would carry that around, though? Just saying.
That's right. Apparently, meshwork bags like these are the height of fashion in London at the moment.
Can anyone confirm that? I guess it is kind of novel. If it was new.
So the contents are clearly visible. Exactly. There was no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. As you can see, there's nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilt here.
They smiled in sync.
Thank you all for helping me prove that, Naruhodo-san.
That is way closer than it looks like. Not gonna lie, when Clavier does his thing where he smacks the back of the prosecution area, I was like, it's that close? I didn't actually know it was. Although I guess Manfred smashes his head into it when he's mad, but like, he could have walked a little bit to do that, I don't know.
Order! Order! Inspector Hosonaga, you will submit that print as evidence at once.
Certainly, Your Excellency. Can I present it as being a problem already?
I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness, Counsel.
Oh no, it's that one sprite.
The court has now been shown considerable evidence. As the photographic print just submitted into the court record appears to have no further significance, unless anyone wants to say otherwise, I am satisfied there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and must make my ruling.
Indeed, and there is only one logical conclusion. That this pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime.
No. Just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around. I'm in a worse situation than I was at the start. Come on, you didn't see it either, Kazuma? Kazuma? He's gonna start laughing. I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue. What? You mean this is it?
I must say you put up quite a fight for a rookie student, but the weak are meat while the strong will eat. You are wasting your time. There's no way to defeat true justice. A fact you can chew on to your heart's content from the inside of your cell.
Yes, keep making these meat puns while we talk about... Well, the meat is going to be the issue in like 3 seconds. This can't be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime I didn't commit? And Kazuma... His dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Kazuma? What? Is there really no chance now of turning this trial around? You heard the judge. There's nothing about that last photograph the detective produced we can contest. Which means there's no basis on which we can argue for the trial to continue.
Very well. I will now proceed immediately to the ruling.
It seems we'll be able to report to the British government on time after all.
Whoa, 2 different sprites at the same time? Look at that. I don't really like Naruhodo's bracers. They're a little weird, but it's okay. That smug little...
Ryunosuke Naruhodo, having considered all of the evidence placed before me, I hereby find you... What?
Wait, Your Excellency! Ryunosuke? I don't think you can rule on this case yet.
This amateurish is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems the trial is over, he gives his ruling. That is the most basic protocol of the courtroom.
Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As the photographic print just submitted appears to have no further significance, there's no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Now, that means that if there was a problem with the evidence, or some significant detail, I mean, then ruling on the case at this time would be out of the question.
This is blatant straw clutching. Look at this photographic print. All it shows is the handbag the gentlewoman was carrying the day in question. There could be no problem with this evidence.
You'd better know what you're doing, Ryunosuke.
I understand your objection, Counsel. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court's scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information from this handbag.
My thoughts exactly. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes.
Yes, I am desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. If only I could put my finger on it. Literally!
Very well. I will grant the defense one final opportunity.
What?
He's got the gavel! Wow, his hands are huge. Jeez. He could crush a child with those hands. Just...
But be warned that if I am unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, Your Excellency.
So, take another look at the photographic print Inspector Hosanaga submitted before. You will identify for the court where in this print we see the significant detail to which you have alluded.
Dun 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 dun. Look at this here. There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist.
That is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description.
She doesn't like that.
Dear me! I was pondering what new piffle you would come out with. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist. Clearly that has nothing whatsoever to do with the magnificent lady's handbag.
Yes, that is a burn mark, you're right. Go on, Inspector. The police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report.
What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing, either.
The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of this mark. However, as Prosecutor Ouchie points out, unless a firm connection to the case can be shown, I cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise details of this burn.
Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Brett has a lunch appointment with the Dean and other university staff. She wants to leave.
She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now.
Oh, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway.
No.
What's your thinking on this, Ryunosuke? Do you believe this burn does have something to do with this case? To be honest, I'm not really sure. I am. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So, I was thinking I should keep digging and digging, and hope I might uncover something useful. Yes, you're right. I am? If we can just link that burn to the case, if we can do that, we might be able to prise this shutting door back open again. I guess it's supposed to be like some form of pry.
Just give up, Counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that.
Indeed. I'm afraid that without evidence, I can't allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture.
But if we had evidence? Evidence that irrefutably linked the burn on the victim's wrist to the case, then you would allow it.
I would, yes.
To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed it out, what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brett's face. Really? I have to find some link between that burn and the case. Steady yourself, Ryunosuke. This is the moment of truth. It's time to find some evidence that proves what the burn really means.
So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. The evidence that demonstrates an inextricable connection between the victim's burn and this trial.
Is it print number 1? No, it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. Yes!
What's this, Counsel? Yet another print?
Yes, Your Excellency. I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at a scene, we miss things. But, in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forever.
Do hurry up, Rookie. What are you trying to say? Only I'm allowed to make weird proverbs. To inconvenience this poor lady any further really would be quite inexcusable.
Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore.
What?
How? You worked in the place and you didn't notice? Anyway.
You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. I'll call you Bluff Boy. Yeah. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean.
What is it on this photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burn? Doot doot.
Yes. The beef steak?
Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on.
The plate? Oh!
Your Excellency, are you all right?
As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of Le Carnaval.
Oh.
The emblem on the plate and the victim's burn are exactly the same shape.
Ah!
Ryunsuke, you genius!
You're spot on.
Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant.
But what does this mean? But even if that is the case, we can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It could have been the day before, or the day before that. It's most likely happened at some other unrelated time.
Well, Sadly, Prosecutor Ouchie, the chances of that are extremely slim. Thanks.
Why?
The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga?
I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly.
But...
I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And, although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. This was no mild burn, that's for sure.
I can't believe he was branded with the image of a cow. How ironic. Because, usually you brand cows, not saying that he was a cow. Can you be more specific, Inspector? There we go.
Well, let's see. If the plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds. It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then. I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of Le Carnaval, I can testify to that without hesitation. Oh, I'm yawning. Okay, fine.
But you're a detective, not a waiter!
That means his skills at investigating would be even better. There you have it. Something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burnt themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that. And yet, Inspector Hosonaga never heard the professor scream, not on that day or any before it. That's right, and the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either, because he was already dead. What are you suggesting? Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day...
That would be beyond careless, I think, Counsel.
Then the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, the old antiques dealer, all of us would, without any question, have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Ouchie?
Huh? Well, yes, I suppose.
So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? I almost don't believe it. Ryunsuke, do you think... Can it really be true? I never dreamt we'd arrived at a conclusion like this, but... I'm starting to think that maybe... we've been led into a terrible trap. There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. On that day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson was already dead. No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible, apart from in one particular situation.
Counsel, are you suggesting...
Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead.
Already?
Dead?
Don't look at me like that. Can't even see how you're looking at me. Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead.
That's madness!
Order, please! Counsel, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was... he was killed by a gunshot.
That's right! That's absolutely right, Your Excellency! This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student, but clearly has no grasp on the facts.
Objection!
No, Prosecutor Ouchie, it's you who has no grasp of the facts.
I beg your pardon.
As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while in the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it.
Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement.
But, Your Excellency...
The justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I'm prepared to pass judgment.
Thank you, Your Excellency. She don't like that. What was that smile? It was gross.
Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours.
Oh,
Miss Brett, you speak Japanese?
well, of course I do. I am studying in your country after all.
But then, why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now?
My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible. Yikes. Well, I think we'll leave it at that today, ladies and gents. What an episode. I'm excited to see the end of this, which will hopefully be next time. But I have to go quick, because I hear my dog going crazy. So, like and subscribe. I will see you next time. Okay, bye!